first, we have to crucify our idolized self. Second, we need to process emotion, but there's one last thing that we need to know about our hearts, and this perhaps is the most important thing. Ecclesiastes 3:11 says this: God placed eternity in the human heart. In other words, we were created to long for the things of eternity. Deep down, our hearts were made to want it. Jesus taught us to want this. He taught us to long for it in Matthew 6:33, when he said, seek first the kingdom of God, and then all those other things will be taken care of as well. And you see, when the scriptures say that God placed eternity in the human heart, it means that we were created for the things of eternity, for the perfection of God. We were made for the person of God, the presence of God. We were made for the love of God, the joy of God, the peace of being right with him. I mean, we're created to long for the beauty of heaven and the purity of a world where everything's made right and true and is just and is pure. I mean, deep inside of us, this is what our hearts long for what eternity alone can provide, heaven itself. Throughout the New Testament, this realm of God's good and perfect reign, it's called the kingdom of heaven or the kingdom of God. It's a world where all is as it should be, on earth just as it is in heaven. A world where God's will is perfectly achieved. A world where God's presence and good and wise rule are present. And Jesus calls us to seek the advancement and experience of his kingdom, the kingdom of heaven right here on earth, above other desires. He calls us to seek this because the most fundamental drives of your life are the things that you have set your heart on to want and pursue and desire. But the problem is that we often settle for lesser desires, and we rarely get in touch with the deepest desire of our hearts. Larry Crabb writes about this in a book called Inside Out. I recommend it. He says essentially, you can think of your heart as having surface level casual desires, and then a little bit deeper critical desires, and then one deepest crucial desire. And what happens is most of us set our hearts on chasing after these lesser desires up here, rarely reflecting on what our hearts were made for, rarely living out of the deepest place of want. We end up settling for lesser pursuits, which leaves little fuel or passion to pursue what matters most.